Hare Krishna. My name is Jvalamukhi Dasi. This is video number 36 in the J-File series of my book, My Hoo-Hoo and the Destiny of the Universe, the Golden Age, the Great Sinister Movement, and the Fire Walk of a Hare Krishna Kid. I am waking up early or going to bed late trying to get these videos done because I want to actually get my book out there and finish this story so that we can move on to current events. And this is a backlog showing where I am coming from, and my endeavor is to clear Srila Prabhupada's name from all that has gone on in his name and bring about the beautiful golden age that he is the general ushering in that was predicted 5,000 years ago. So I'm just a little nobody here, a little foot soldier here in his followers, but I have this strong desire to see something manifest and for the world leaders to take up this Krishna consciousness movement. So this has been a very strong desire of mine for as long as I can remember. My mother instilled it with me and in childhood. And so this whole journey is coming around right to like, how can I be an instrument for this mission? And so these entries are seemingly unrelated in as much as they're going into details around past lives and sort of minutia of consciousness searching. But all of them really are arriving at the main point, which is the desire. The desire, what do we actually want? What is the goal of life? And what is keeping us from pure, unalloyed desire for love of Godhead? So in my trip down the rabbit hole in prayer, Krishna, please show me myself as I am so that I may see you one day as you are, to see you in full, or at least as full as I am. So these different past lives were revealed because Krishna is in the heart and he is the source of all knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And if he chooses to show these sequences to me, then there is something there for me to learn, and I'm paying attention to it. So I don't mean to just, I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious about the sharing of past life sequences and sort of the nitty-gritty of this hurts there and that feeling was stored here and this and that. But this has been, what is it? It's 2025. So this has been whatever, like 15 years of me coming around right and exploring what is this chetra, what is this body of consciousness, how many different ways can I unearth the anartas in my heart, and along with that big anarta root, the unwanted thing in the heart, comes a story. So here's the story of how it got there, where it came from, sort of like if any of you are familiar with the story of the novel written by Srila Sanatana Goswami about the soul, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, how Gopa Kumar, he travels throughout the material universes and world until he gets to the spiritual world, and it's his story of how he gets there. This is sort of like me, the opposite way, like how I tripped and fell and ended up in the material world, got all messed up and trying to come around, and by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, the Guru Parampara's mercy, come around right and go back home, back to Godhead. So hopefully these will have some redeeming value for my listeners. Thank you for spending your time listening to me. But these are my reflections, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Hare Krishna. So here, this one is called Within and Without. It was on January 17th, 2012. This is another entry in relation to the ongoing emergence of the past life recall around the shaman woman lifetime, which, by the way, if I didn't get to it in the descriptions, I figured out it was somewhere in the Polynesian Islands, roughly between 500 and 450 years ago, based on the dress of the conquistadors. And I couldn't ever find the language that was spoken there, but it may have been wiped out when he killed everybody. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Christopher Columbus, by the way. Okay, here we are. Since the last facilitated session, I had one all by myself. My left big toe got infected from clipping it too close, and I had to take antibiotics, something I haven't done since I was a teenager, to get the swelling in my leg and ankle down from the infection. Long story short, there was lots of pain and feelings of resentment coming up. I wanted to get to the energetic source of the foot pain. It was the same foot pain that around 8 months ago was excruciating and turned out to be my, quote, unforgiveness around my last lifetime's abortion just before I committed suicide by drowning myself. This time, I went into trance with intention and breath and looked at the source by moving my seat of awareness into my foot. I went past 2 hissing covering layers, and there came the emotion, the images. As an aside, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that which pervades the entire body with consciousness is the soul. So you as the soul can witness everything in this body simply with intention. You can move your awareness, and just like a large library full of information, there are so many impressions stored in each and every part of our body, and of course different parts of the body hold different emotions or feelings and like that, and there's many healing modalities that address that. I began grieving with tears and heart pulling, sobbing in that same forgotten foreign language as before. I kept saying over and over again, Ekoto so pahinala, Ekoto so pahinala, which I don't know what those words actually mean, but the meaning in my emotional understanding was everything is finished, it's all done, all over. This time I perceived that I had either killed or drowned the little girl, probably the same one as the last entry, or at least was looking at her under the water. I felt that I had killed her in some kind of fatalistic sacrifice. I was grieving very, very heavily about this. There was a lot of self-unforgiveness about this. I have stored that in my foot all these years and bodies later. Now I am grateful that Krishna has used this, quote, button, what I refer to as the idiot lights, on the dashboard of my bodily learning vehicle. He used it to bring my attention to the next work that I need to do, which is self-forgiveness. After all, the soul is neither the killer nor the killed. Bhagavad Gita 2:19. He who thinks that the living entity is the slayer, or that he is slain, does not understand. One who is in knowledge knows that the self slays not, nor is slain. I need to actually realize, and I actually need to realize this in truth if I am going to heal. My present self was unable to appease the past shaman woman self. When I prayed for Lord Nrsingadev to speak transcendental knowledge to that former old woman's subtle body layer, my former grieving self, she immediately became pacified. Mahaprabhu told me later, next time, better to cry it out all the way, then be in transcendence. This is the healing. This is the process of healing. Accepting to feel emotion, accepting to have catharsis. Only then revelation comes to stay. It is not a mental adjustment or artificial. The proof that one is doing it properly is that the heart softens in self-compassion and compassion for others, not turns hard with a bunch of unfeeling, good-sounding, dry philosophy hurled out in harsh judgment of oneself or others. That is simply cheating in the name of religion, cheating in the name of transcendence. This world is not false, as the Mayavadis claim. It is only temporary. Why else would God descend here to show us, by example, proper action, the ways of Dharma? Why would he do that if nothing mattered, if feelings were just Maya or illusion and unimportant? No, we must remove a thorn with a thorn. We must transmute all of our experiences here so that we can be home on the way home. Be in this world, but not of it. We must apply transcendental knowledge. If we do, our heart also transforms. The desire seeds born in ignorance of our real eternal identities are all burned up in the great fire of remorse. Then we can make new choices. Then we can forgive ourselves. We can forgive others. We can adjust and continue in true knowledge of the self. My dear teacher held my hand the whole way. She is a very, very special and true disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I did as she said this evening, and I cried, giving vent more to the feelings, honoring them, honoring myself. Even though this material sojourn is temporary, it is not false, because through our journey, learning, and making of new choices, we return to our original loving, constitutional position as pure loving servants of God and of one another. It is self-kindness, and very, very important. To skip this catharsis, to try to skip the feelings and go straight for the transcendental philosophical conclusion, is simply cheating. What will philosophy and so-called knowledge avail one if the heart remains hard and unchanged, full of dirty things? And how will the heart become soft again if it refuses to heal, if it refuses to feel? Yeah, it sure hurts like hell, but what is the purpose of this whole cosmic manifestation, this reformatory institution called the material world, if not to feel remorse, if not to be rectified? My dear Lord, I said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. May I come home now? It's really that simple, really. Cry, I give up. Do the cleanup, help others do the same, and go home. I was also shown that Lord Mahavishnu is in each and every atom. There is no need to go to the center of the earth with breath or up to the heavens. He is right here, immediate. So I was referring there to the meditation I do to center myself. So I had this kind of core meditation that I was doing on the earth and like that. But what was the point? The Lord is here in my own body in every single atom. I also saw that I am a part of Him in quality. I've theoretically known this philosophically, but it is a whole different matter to actually see it. I was like a small flake off an unlimited mass. I was chanting japa this evening, and at the end of my rounds in burning prayer, I got more images of my native life so long ago. I was again speaking and crying in that language. This time I saw ships with Spaniards who wore those funny metal upward curved helmets. They arrived on the white sand beaches of our small island. None of us had ever seen such large ships before, nor the metal and dress worn by these strangers. As the matriarch of my people, I received them with honor, believing their pledges of goodwill, accepting their trinket gifts. In turn, I welcomed them, I fed them, told my people that they were here from the gods to help us. They needed raw material for their voyage, for trade. I saw the calculating greed in my own heart. So it's very interesting. It happens that when the Lord gives me past life recall, or even recall from earlier in this life, there's almost like a bifocal where I'm able to perceive the consciousness that I had in that previous time or previous body, but with the present day consciousness. So it's like I'm observing my own consciousness from before. So in this sentence here, I'm saying I saw the calculating greed in my own heart. I was able to perceive my previous state of greed. And there it was, the conditioning. It blinded me to their real intentions. I was easily fooled by these double-crossing criminals of the sea, just like an innocent child is easily manipulated. I did not see it coming at all. In fact, I felt powerful, the benefactor, the wise, fortunate leader of my people. All glories to the utter monster known as Christopher Columbus, the explorer, the obliterator of gentle culture, and murderer of more than 8 million native peoples. I don't know if that's all accurate, but he definitely was not the champion that we were taught early on in school. He did a lot of really bad things. Imagine that. This country holds him up as a hero and even named our capital after him, continuing his plundering, decimating policies. all the while portraying him as a great hero to our preschoolers. Telling. Very, very telling. God bless America. Ha ha ha. Another day, breathing deeply in self-searching awareness, I saw a tavern or house with old wood walls and a desk. Men looking like old Spanish military were sitting there. I was there also. There was some big deal being made. I was being asked to do something for them, and I would get something in return. There was a feeling of evil in the air. I could smell it. I saw myself in a room with their leaders. I recognized the soul, presently known as Beast, was there too, but he was in a Spaniard body. He was the one who did it. He was the one who double-crossed me, fed me charm, and stole my life, the life of my people. I had somehow been manipulated by him, betrayed, and sold out my people for position and power. I realized it too late. Things had gotten so far out of hand that the only way I could conceive of to turn things around was to offer the ultimate sacrifice to the gods, to offer my daughter and my granddaughter. I was the leader of my people. I had to pay to make things right. So again, this is religion in the mode of ignorance, complete mode of ignorance, unfortunately. But that's all over the world now in Kali Yuga. People are completely ignorant of what it means to practice real religion, or who to pray to, and how to receive benedictions. It didn't work. I'd lost those dearest to my heart, my own daughter, who was to inherit our tribe, my granddaughter, who was so bright and full of life. Despite my best efforts, I watched everything be torn apart by these lying monsters from the sea. Utter devastation ensued. My warrior men had tried to stand up to the well-armed foreigners, but it was simply a massacre. No contest. As a result, many were slain, and some were leaving on the ship as slaves, mostly the women and children. There I stood in my old shaman woman body, tears flowing down my wrinkled brown skin, braids lifted by the balmy winds of the tropical sea. The perfect climate of the soft, white, sandy beach, where I stood riveted, contrasted my tortured state of being. The Spaniards had purposely left me, the only one alive, the only other human on the island, their signature of spite, their evil nature. I can still see it so clearly in my mind's eye, as if it were just yesterday. The ship slowly set sail on the clear turquoise waters of my home. All my children, all my women. What was left of the men? All were taken bound and caged as slaves, transported to who knows where for some awful fate. And it was all my doing. I was stricken to the core. Obviously, I have not yet resolved this because it still causes me intense emotion. I seek solitude these days. While the hubbub of children playing goes on in our home, I often take strolls down the dirt road in front of the house. The warmth of the sun-baked limestone feels good on my bare feet. I feel the comfort of Mother Nature, Father Sun beating down on my thoughtful head. In my trance, I had a waking vision that took place some when between lifetimes. I saw myself in front of the golden avatar, Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu. He is sitting in front of me, the all-omniscient being, impartially, patiently hearing me out, his lotus eyes communicating unlimited depths of meaning, but still aloof, reserved. I am a soul as of yet unsurrendered, unredeemed. I have work to do. So many sins I've committed in my great ignorance of him. Now I choose differently. I wanted to absolve myself. I implored him, my dear Lord, I will prove to you that in this lifetime, no matter what I go through, I will not be tempted again. I will say no to Picottu, that means the devil. I will redeem myself by being of service to you. Test me, test me. I will not turn from you. I will not leave you again. I will not fail you. Test me, test me. But please, just give me one more chance, even though I know I do not deserve it. I will not fail you. I will not fail you. Test me. I will never leave you again. I promise, I promise, I promise. Test me. Let me prove my sincerity. Let me show you that I am rectified. It felt good to know that I had had a change of heart some when between lifetimes. Maybe that is why I have the unimaginable good fortune to have had the association of Srila Prabhupada and his real disciples, to be born in my, quote, Rakshasa Vaishnava family, to work out the balance. Now I need to forgive myself so that I don't get in my own way. I often ruefully laugh at myself. One cannot change one's nature. And my nature is intense and fiery. And I often laugh at myself and think, what a fool. What a fool I am. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I say, test me. I say, test me. Why would you say that? Like, why? What kind of odd sense of heroism is there to ask the Lord to test you? Well, the soul cannot die. We are eternal. So the test is lifetime after lifetime. Will I choose Krishna, or will I choose his illusory energy? And people turn away from God because they don't know that they're a spirit soul. They don't know Krishna's nature as their source. They believe that they're being punished or abandoned or ignored through these karmic interactions where there's so much suffering is present. Because the mentality is that I'm the enjoyer, and I'm not enjoying. It's not going my way. And you, as the order supplier, my dear creator, didn't show up and you didn't deliver, and you're punishing me, and I didn't do anything wrong. Because most people don't have a actual working realization of the eternality of the soul. And because we want to be an illusion, everybody gets what they want. They really do. If you want the truth, you're willing to take accountability, which is hard, because there's so much pain in the life. And then we come to wrong conclusions. Sometimes we beat ourselves up. I'm sinful, or like this whole, I should probably make a very dedicated presentation on the misunderstandings of I'm a sinner. Because the soul is not by nature sinful. There may be conditioning there, but this idea that we are born sinners is inaccurate, and it keeps one from being able to traverse the path of self-love in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it unfortunately aids and abets the demonic religion of Satanism. Because how can you actually love yourself unless you know yourself? And how can you know yourself unless it's revealed to you by the Supreme Person? And how can you know the Supreme Person without a bona fide spiritual master coming in that unbroken lineage? And how will you get to that unbroken lineage when the greatest evil that ever was tried to snuff out the continuation of Lord Chaitanya's mission? So it is by my great good fortune that I have the regular association of my dear teacher, who's been empowered by the Lord to carry forth these teachings in the proper mood of honoring the soul, the self, and that the product of this Krishna consciousness movement is exactly that, our consciousness, that we value, that we measure our success and the happiness of the individuals in their Krishna consciousness, not in buildings, not in projects, not in numbers, or where you are at a certain time of day and how many numerical rounds you've completed. Of course, all of these things are important and they need to be followed and not ignored, but it's not a material religion. It is the religion of pure loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. So I feel very, very grateful that I have had this hand-holding through coming up and out of the darkest of experiences and the attacks upon Srila Prabhupada's mission to spread this organization. So I really urge all of you who are following this this presentation to take it very seriously, to have home programs, invite people, just read Srila Prabhupada's unedited books, distribute prasadam for yourself, be strict in your own daily life, eat only Krishna prasadam, and read Srila Prabhupada's books together, and in this way move it forward in a very personal level. So Hare Krishna. Again, thank you for listening.